Okay, there's thinking big, and then there's thinking really big. The Wisconsin governor, Tony Evers, was clearly thinking really big when he used his veto power on Wednesday to increase public school funding for the next 4 centuries. 4 centuries. Here's how he did it. This is what Wisconsin's biennial budget looked like when it was sent to Governor Evers' desk to be signed into law. It called for a spending increase of $325 per student for the upcoming school year and the next, 2024 to 2025. Before signing the budget into law, Governor Evers whipped out his red pen and, with a few key edits, increased spending until 2425, the year. I know what you're asking right now, and the answer is apparently yes, he can do that, because Governor Evers removed whole words, numbers, and that hyphen between 2024 and 2025. It appears to be legal, with one nonpartisan expert telling the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that those edits, quote, are allowable under the Constitution and court decisions on partial veto. The hyphen seems to be new, but the courts have allowed partial veto of punctuation, end quote. Now, a veto like this might sound crazy to you and me, but by previous Wisconsin standards, it could actually be considered relatively tame. Quote, former Republican Governor Scott Walker in 2017 used his veto power to extend the deadline of a state program from 2018 to 3018. 1,000 years. That came to be known as the 1,000-year veto. He also delayed the start date of another program by 60 years. Now, despite their own creative use of the partial veto in the past, Republicans are not happy about this move. Unfortunately, there doesn't appear to be much that they can do about it at the moment. It would take a 2/3 majority in the state legislature to override the veto, which even in the gerrymandered Wisconsin seems highly unlikely. Governor Evers isn't sweating any Republican backlash because that's none of his business. Joining us now is the Democratic Congresswoman Gwen Moore of Wisconsin. She's a member of the House Ways and Means Committee and the Joint Economic Committee and a good friend of our show. Congresswoman, good to see you this evening. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Allie. And you did such a good job explaining this veto.
Well, I'm glad you think so, because I'm not fully sure I understand it. Tell me what this is about, and why do you have such a veto?
Well, the legislature was very intentional about making sure that the governor has the power to veto. And so in 1910, they decided that the governor could have a partial veto. Now, as you've described, that got to be interpreted in wild, crazy ways. We once had what was called the Vanna White veto, where the governor could literally strike out letters of the alphabet until he got to a letter, and then strike out some more and create whole new sentences and whole new laws. That was one of the few cases that went to court, and that's not allowed anymore. Another was the so-called Frankenstein veto, which Governor Tommy Thompson loved, and that was where where he vetoed whole sentences and cobbled together sentences to make new law. But this is called a digit veto, and as you indicated, even though governors in 44 other states have a line item veto, this is a veto where you can go into the legislation and actually cross out numbers and so on, as long as you don't do the other things like the Frankenstein veto or the Vanna White veto. It's been upheld in court. This has gone back and forth to the court about 8 times, and 6 times the court has determined that the legislation, that the partial veto means a part, and the legislation says that that part shall become law. And because we have one person Democrat minority to sustain a veto, Republicans can't do anything else. Now, not only did they do that, Allie, I don't know how much time we have, but he also used this veto to take away a $3.5 billion tax cut for the richest people. And so the governor used this same digit veto to reduce that benefit from 3.5 billion to 175 million by eliminating tinkering with the tax rates at the top two tiers, while maintaining those tax cuts for middle class and lower income people. So, Tony the Tiger, I'm going to call him, even though he's known to be kind of no drama Tony.
I want to talk about what this particular school funding plan does. I'm going to quote from the New York Times. It said the new budget does not automatically increase the state's spending each year. Rather, it allows school districts to raise their total revenue amount, which comes from a combination of state aid and property taxes, by $325 per student every year, which is the largest increase to the revenue limit in Wisconsin in more than a decade. If the legislature does not increase state aid in future years, school districts would then have the authority to raise property taxes. So basically, he's in this digit veto, he's created a vehicle by which schools can rely on increased funding per year for the next 400 years. How it gets funded remains a political question.
Well, I tell you, and thank God that he did, because right around the time I left the state legislature and went to Congress was when the Republicans and the state legislature really put a freeze on these property taxes, so that they could have the talking point that they reduced property taxes. But it has really cost students over time. And this $350, the value of these per pupil costs would be maybe $3,500 more than it is now. Not to say we spend $3,500 on students, but the increase on the per pupil spending would be at least $3,500 more. And, that's real money, Allie. And over a decade or two, it really shows up in the professional development of the staff, being able to retain good teachers, being able to have paraprofessionals assist in the classroom to be able to really run a modern school district. So legislatures and municipal authorities have been very reluctant to increase the levy. But as you pointed out, it gives them some options. They don't have to raise the levy limit every year. But before these school districts fall woefully behind in their capacity to deliver the educational product, they'd be able to do it without going to a referendum.